Hey folks, it's the devil here again. By popular demand. In my last video, God threw me out of heaven again. Didn't appreciate me sneaking into the back door and announcing my presence. But of course he knows everything, so never mind. That's another day. Right now, I just want to explain myself. He doesn't want me to come back. I don't blame him because he has these rules. Two things. I have to obey him and praise him. The obeying isn't too bad, but the praising, which I guess is part of the obedience, I just can't do. You know, he trapped me into this life of evil. I'm not evil. I've done an evil thing. I thought I was serving God. I was being good, praising. He wanted me to test the devotion of Job. You know, his most devout follower. And I challenged him. I said, no, nobody can be that faithful. I mean, look at him. He's got a great life. You know, a beautiful wife, wonderful family. Of course he's going to be loving you. Nothing ever bad happens to him. So God took that as a challenge. I think it was more of a like an interview, like he was setting me up. This was the beginning of my association with God's evil. And he wanted to see if I was willing to be evil. And at the time, I loved God so great, so wonderfully, that I took him up on it. I regret it. That was horrible, but he shouldn't have allowed that to happen. But he had to make his point. See, I'm right. Job is only devoted to me. No matter what happens to him, he will always devote himself to me. And that was important to God. And it was just to be an example for all of his people. See, this is what I want from you. So Job was supposed to be the example of all of God's people. This is the kind of devotion he wants. And that was the whole purpose of this setup. But also to see if I'd go for it. Because now that I go for it, or I did go for it, he set me up. I was the evil one. I did. I killed 10 members of Job's family. It was a very serious moment, and I'm crushed. I felt so horrible, and it was at that point I started to question my love for God. And I realized what he had done to me. He made this happen. So I'd be the fall guy. I'd be the patsy. Nobody has to think God is evil. And they can point to this story as an example of how evil I was. And I actually felt shame and guilt. Nothing God ever feels shame or guilt. No way. He can kill millions of people. And it didn't matter. And he doesn't have any feelings. But I do it. Stupid. He totally set me up. And yeah, I ended up killing Job's family. And that's when I knew I can't follow this God anymore. And that's what came to a head. And we had this tete-a-tete. And I got kicked out of heaven. And of course the story goes, because I was so evil, nope, I just couldn't live his way. So, kind of house rules. You live under God's house, you follow his rules. If not, you get kicked out. Fair enough. Like I said, I'm crushed by what I did to Job's family. But God could have stopped it. He's all powerful. He made the suggestion. How could he even do that to anybody? But he did, because he don't have to care. But I cared. And it bothered me, and it still bothers me to this day. So yeah, God set me up. And God is the reason for evil in the world, not me. So if you're looking for a fall guy, you look right at God and you ask that question. Because he could have stopped a whole lot of evil, and he didn't. So I'm not taking the rap anymore. He did it. He is the creator of good and evil. Why? I don't know. But it isn't me, and stop blaming me. It's God's turn to take on the responsibility. And humans, whatever failings you have, I get it. We are all falling short. But doesn't mean you have to feel guilty. You were created the way you're created. Take responsibility when you're wrong, and praise yourself and God if you want when you're right. But the buck stops here. No more should you think of me as the fall guy, as the reason why there's evil in the world. It's just not true. Okay, see, nobody's going to tell you this kind of truth. I have to tell you. And I want to tell you in my movie. So make sure you go to GoFundMe.com/help-make-the-devil's-movie. Give me $5. Like, share, do all that cool stuff. Get the word out. I've got plenty more truth to tell you. All right, thanks. Take care, everyone.